Okay, so before we get to the review proper on this, there's something I feel like I need to state. If you suffer from photosensitivity, Incredibles 2 has some scenes with some really intense strobe effects that happen. Uh, there's one scene in particular where it is really intense and it's kind of prolonged. It's up there for about, I'd say, between 15 to 30 seconds, somewhere in there. I even had to cover my eyes. So if that sort of thing sets you off, you might want to wait and see this on DVD or on Netflix, where you could, or whenever Disney starts their streaming service, where you can control the brightness on your TV and maybe mute that down a bit. I would not recommend seeing that in the theater. Anyway, yes, this is the Incredibles 2 review, as I'll get to that proper now. Well, sort of. This was weird. I had this weird experience. The film, it's not even the film itself. It opens up, like, I thought, oh, okay, this is normally where the short comes, but this wasn't the short. This was this little kind of vignette where the cast and crew of Incredibles 2 came on and basically apologized for the 14-year delay in between films. Okay. I know these things take time, and obviously Brad Bird had other projects, and I know for a while it looked like Disney was going to do it, and then went back to Pixar, and then went back to Disney, and that looked like it wasn't going to happen at all. But still, it's like, okay, I appreciate that, but I don't think most of the kids in the audience really cared. Anyway, then moving on to the short, which was called Bao. It was a Chinese influenced short. I believe the director of it was Chinese, and it was kind of interesting. It's about a woman who's making some dim sum, and one of the dumplings comes to life and starts acting like it's a kid, and she starts raising it like a kid and trying to be a protective mother to it. And yeah, I know this sounds strange. Basically, the whole ending is, it's actually a metaphor for her estranged son, who married a woman that she didn't approve of, and at the end, her and the actual son reunite. I think this might have been a little too esoteric for the kids in the audience. Obviously, because of where I was seeing this, yes, there were a lot of kids there, and a lot of them did seem kind of confused as to what was going on. Then again, they could have also been waiting for the film to start. Anyway, we now move on to Incredibles 2 proper. This is when the film actually does start. Basically, in this world, I would say it's maybe a year. It's just in the wake of the first Incredibles. So, yeah, there's not like a big time skip or anything. It's like basically the next day. I think it's where the first film ended with the appearance of the Underminer. But one of the things is, yeah, heroes are still illegal in this. They haven't been changed. Violet has been flirting with a boy recently, and he basically finds out that she's a superhero when the Underminer attacks, and the Underminer, they manage to not even defeat the Underminer. He gets away, but they stop one of his machines from destroying the city, and they wind up getting arrested because, again, heroes are still illegal. But a man named Winston Dever sees this, and he's been trying to get the law changed, and it inspires him to basically bring in Frozone, Mr. Incredible, and Elastigirl to basically use one of them, namely Elastigirl, to help reintroduce supers into, well, proper society. As has happened, Tony has a date set up with Violet, but unfortunately, Agent Bricker, the character was voiced by Abe Vigoda in the first movie, he sort of talks with Tony and wipes his mind. Unfortunately, he wipes too much of his mind so that he forgets his date with Violet. And this winds up kind of driving a bit of a wedge between Violet and Bob, because Violet eventually finds out that what happened, and it's like, oh, it wasn't that he was being a jerk, it's that you wiped his memory, and you wiped too much of it. But anyway, Bob talks Helen into accepting Winston's offer. Well, so Winston has a sister, Evelyn. I'll get to their backstory just after this. To accept the offer, Devin puts them up in a new swanky pad. He has a new costume for Elastigirl that has a camera on it so they can broadcast her actions and show her that, yes, she's really on the good side. The backstory with the Devers is their father was a big telecommunications magnate who supported superheroes, and Winston thought the world of him. Evelyn, not so much, but when the heroes got outlawed, someone broke into their home and killed their father, and the mother died from grief soon after. The mother wanted the father to go into a safe room located in the house, but no, he wanted to try to contact a couple of superheroes, but the phones were cut. And from that, it kind of telegraphs who at least one of the bad guys is. I'll get to that soon. Elastigirl goes on her heroing adventures. Bob stays behind to basically become the stay-at-home dad. He struggles helping Dash with his homework. At this point, Jack's powers kick in, or he discovers Jack's powers. I think they've already kicked in. It eventually starts to put a strain on him because he's trying to do everything at once, and it exhausts him. He's even trying to repair Violet and Tony's relationship, and it doesn't really work there. He takes Jack to see Edna Mode, who's not particularly happy that Elastigirl has an outfit that was not designed by her, because the Incredibles were supposed to be exclusive to her. Anyway, as this is happening, Elastigirl encounters a villain called the Screenslaver. This is where the strobe effect I talked about earlier comes in, because he uses it to hypnotize people, and there's a point where she finally catches him, and it's this weird kind of schlubby pizza delivery guy, and it doesn't make any sense. And that's because, surprise, it turns out, I initially thought that it would be both Devers, but no, it's Evelyn who turns out is, the bad guy. Is actually the Screenslaver, because she says, people don't want quality, they want convenience. And if her father had realized that and just gone into the safe room rather than trying to call superheroes, they would have lived. And I said, and here's a problem I have with this. I get sort of the reasoning behind it, but it would have made more sense for both of them to be the villains. Because it's two intruders that kill the father. So wouldn't it make sense for both of them to be, and have it be that they killed their father basically because they did not like it. They felt that he put the superheroes above the family's interests. Anyway, it's then that Elastigirl gets hypnotized, and this is used. There's also a few other heroes that show up here. Let me get their names. Some other heroes that show up are Void, who is a very nervous, anxious girl who can basically open portals. Screech, who's like an owl man. Brick, who's really strong. Crush, who's also really strong. Reflux, who has bad heartburn. And there's some guy with electric powers, but I never caught his name. But as this is happening, anyway, those heroes also wind up getting hypnotized, and it's because there's this summit that Elastigirl's done enough now that basically countries are starting to come around to the idea that heroes really should be legal as long as they're considerate and they don't get anyone hurt, and they try not to cause too much collateral damage, because that's what did them in the first time. And basically, like I said, there's a summit on a boat. Take a good long look at the boat. and they're signing in the accord to allow for superheroes to return, and basically she's going to use this to hypnotize the heroes and have them turn on everyone and just be in business for themselves, ruining superheroes forever. Eventually, like I said, the other heroes, she uses Elastigirl to lure Mr. Incredible into a trap where he gets hypnotized. Frozone also gets hypnotized trying to protect the kids, and thus it falls to the kids to free everyone. Jack uses his powers to free Helen first. Then everyone, then Frozone, Mr. Incredible, and the Incredibles, I would say, basically work together to free the other heroes. Eventually, Elastigirl takes down the escaping Evelyn, and heroes are restored, and Violet gets to try to start her relationship over again with Tony when there's another attack, and she has to send him into the movie theater alone. I hope that was condensed enough. I know I get, like I said, I know I get blow by blow a little too much on these, so I'm trying to keep this down again. Overall, though, this movie kind of fell flat with me. I thought it was a very mixed bag. The animation is top notch. The first few action scenes are really good. Towards the end, they just get really sort of repetitive. The story drags a lot. I actually kind of like more of the slice of life stuff than the action stuff. I thought the stuff with Bob trying to raise the kids, having to deal with Violet's issues as a teenager, Dash's struggling with math and the comprehension of new math, which makes me wonder if this takes place in like 1971. Anyway, Jack's powers, that stuff I thought was infinitely more interesting than the superhero stuff. Like I said, the superhero stuff just kind of fell flat at some points. And I also point out the strobe effects that even affected me, even though I don't have a photosensitivity. I did have kind of a headache behind my eyes were burning during a couple of them. It didn't help at all. Like I said, performance-wise, everyone was good. Just a quick sec here. I'm gonna scroll up the cast information. Obviously, Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, they were all fine. Catherine Keener was Evelyn Dever. Bob Odenkirk was Winston Dever. They were pretty good. Bob Odenkirk was really good in his enthusiasm, but I honestly thought Jane Lynch was voicing Evelyn Dever. That's kind of funny. Other than that, though, again, they were serviceable, but not spectacular. But the animation was good, but the story itself, like I said, was entirely predictable. I mean, the only difference was I thought that both Devers were going to make the heel turn, and it just turned out to be Evelyn. So, yeah, unfortunately, I had to give Incredibles 2 a C. It kind of missed the mark for me.
Virginia, 1866. The frequent disappearance of local Civil War widows shocked an already grieving community. These events ended when Lucy Hanover arrived in town. Chicago, May 1927. 41 bodies were found near Union Station. Shortly after the arrival of this young woman, the mysterious murders stopped. Now, in 1997, it's starting all over again.
Tonight, I shall walk the earth.
Something strange is happening in Sunnydale.
What was that?
A force so powerful, so menacing.
Standing at the mouth of hell. And it's about to open.
Never had one person in all the world dared to challenge it.
If she tries to stop you, kill her. This is a matter of life and death.
Now it's up to the chosen one.
You are the slayer. Lives depend upon you.
They're right behind me!
For each generation, there is only one slayer. Anthony Stewart Head, Allison Hannigan, Nicholas Brendan, and Emmy Award winner Sarah Michelle Gellar.
If we don't find her, there's going to be one more dead body in the morning.
The moment is here.
Go! Get out!
You are about to meet the Slayer. Now, a special weekend presentation of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay, trailer time, and we have mostly new trailers in this one, so we kind of got that going for us here. First one up was Teen Titans Go to the Movies. It actually looked kind of interesting. I don't know how great a long-form Teen Titans Go episode is going to work, but maybe it'll actually work. It seemed to be having some interesting points in it, so hopefully that'll come out well. After that, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp again. Then we have Smallfoot, a movie about a Yeti, and not the Yeti from WCW, but a Yeti who finds a human and seeks to prove that they actually exist. After that, we have the Christopher Robin trailer. Not the one from last year about the actual Christopher Robin. No, the one from the book that it's basically Winnie the Pooh meets Hook. Like I said, looked kind of interesting. After that, we had Hotel Transylvania 3 again, and then Ralph Breaks the Internet again. Okay, next video is going to be the NXT TakeOver Chicago 2 recap and review. After that will be the Money in the Bank recap and review. Like I said, next movie should hopefully be Jurassic Park, but that review might be getting a little delayed, as would the random trade review on Missions of Love, unless I could get that shot and edited in time. I don't want to get too far into what it is, because I don't know how much I can say without it happening, but yeah. Long and short of it, I have jury duty. Maybe I won't have jury duty the last 2 times I've been called for this. The case never even went to trial. It got settled out of court. Maybe this will turn out the same way. I can't say for sure, but if it does, that obviously means the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review is going to have to get pushed back. Hopefully only a couple of days, but, you know, them's the breaks. See you all next time. Hey guys, is there a movie you want me to tackle? If it's some stinker like Baywatch or the Emoji Movie or something else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time for Cat Productions. See how you can make that happen.